The beginning of 2017 has seen the arrival of more than 4,000 troops in countries along NATO's eastern flank. The movement is part of the biggest reinforcement of NATO's collective defence in a generation and is known as Enhanced Forward Presence.
Enhanced Forward Presence is a demonstration that NATO understands the risks of our region and is reacting proportionately, protecting us all, because we know that defence is indivisible.
Split into 4 multinational battle groups, each consisting of approximately 1,000 soldiers with equipment and armoured vehicles, the deployment sees 3 of the battle groups stationed in the Baltic states, Estonia, Latvia and Lithuania, and 1 in Poland. But why is the deployment necessary?
We have a neighbour who does not respect its own signature on international agreement, who is more and more openly asking for a change in the international value-based world order.
They still think that Baltic states and Poland are supposed to be the territories of influence to Russia, and that obsession that these territories have been lost to NATO and to the West is still very deeply in their consciousness and mind. And after occupation of Crimea and what's happening in Ukraine, it is clear that this mentality is still predominant in this country's leadership.
Agreed at the NATO summit in Warsaw last year, the battle groups are combat ready and will train and operate alongside host nation forces. But just how serious is the threat?
We don't see any imminent threat against any NATO ally, but we see a more assertive Russia. A Russia which has significantly increased its military presence in this region, which has invested heavily in defense military for many years. A Russia which has been willing to use military force against a neighbor, against Ukraine, and also against Georgia.
The Baltic states, which have large Russian-speaking populations and also share a border with Russia, were occupied during the Soviet Union era before regaining their independence in 1991.
From very small age, you felt repressed and occupied. This was exactly how it was growing up in the Soviet Union. I had to live with this internal feeling that it's all wrong and I cannot do anything about it.
We do see the militarization of Kaliningrad, we do see aggressive exercises. All this signals very clear demonstration of muscles, of posture, demonstration of aggressive attitude, and we need to respond appropriately.
So who is where? There are 15 initial troop contributing nations. In Estonia, the battle group is led by the United Kingdom with the deployment of 800 and further troops from France. In Latvia, the Canadians lead with 450 soldiers, reinforced with troops from Albania, Italy, Poland, Slovenia and Spain. In Lithuania, the Germans lead with 450 troops, while Belgium, Luxembourg, the Netherlands and Norway also contribute forces. And in Poland, the United States leads with 1,000 troops, along with contributions from both Romania and the United Kingdom.
People do see soldiers from Enhanced Forward Presence, our British and French allies. They also see the Baltic Air Police mission airplanes flying over their heads on exercise or scrambling to look at the planes which are violating our airspace. These are all visible signs that we are protected.
The 4 battle groups will deploy on a rotational basis, with more nations expected to contribute forces in the future. They will remain in place as long as required.
We need to face this reality and to adapt to it, of course, only with deterrence position. No threats, no any kind of aggressive reactions towards our neighbors, just commitment of deterrence and self-defense if necessary.
We don't seek confrontation. We don't want a new Cold War. Actually, we seek dialogue with Russia, but we have to send a clear message to avoid or prevent any misunderstanding and any miscalculation NATO stands as one for all for all. That's the best way to prevent conflict.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome General James L. Jones, Jr., President of Jones Group International and Chairman of the Atlantic Council's Brent Scowcroft Center on International Security.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and distinguished guests. Last year, in this same city, NATO heads of state and government took an historic and courageous decision by agreeing to enhance NATO's forward presence in Central and Eastern Europe to respond to a heightened and persistent threat, as you have seen in the video. These battalions are led by the United States, the United Kingdom, Germany, and Canada. As many as 15 other allies participated or will participate in these rotations, which complement the reinforcement of NATO forces in the Black Sea region. NATO's enhanced forward presence demonstrates the enduring solidarity among NATO members, which was reaffirmed yesterday in Warsaw by President Trump, the principle of all for one and one for all. Each of the 29 allies is covered by that solemn pledge. And just as importantly, each is responsible for keeping that pledge to their fellow allies, as well as to make adequate investments in defense capability to ensure the alliance's credibility. As a former Supreme Allied Commander of this alliance, I must confess that I regret the continued presence of external threats to this region and to the alliance. I regret that continued presence of external threats, but I am pleased that our alliance maintains the will and the solidarity to defend its territory and its values from outside threats. And we should all be proud of the men and women from the armed forces of our 29 allied nations who work each and every day to keep the peace in the North Atlantic area and beyond. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my honor and pleasure to present the 2017 Atlantic Council Freedom Award to General Salvatore Farina of Italy, who will accept it on behalf of NATO forces in Central and Eastern Europe. General Farina commands Joint Forces Command Brunson and has over 40 years of service in the Italian Armed Forces. He has extensive command experience in the Italian Armed Forces and in NATO operations in the Balkans. He has also held leadership positions in the European Defense Agency, at the Italian Ministry of Defense, and chaired the steering committee for Italy's most recent defense white paper. It is only fitting that this award should be accepted by General Farina because he is the commander at the operational level who is responsible for knitting together the NATO battle groups in the Baltic states and Poland to ensure that they are not isolated entities, but a common force with a common purpose. Please join me in congratulating General Farina and the men and women of NATO's enhanced forward presence.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. And let me first thank you, Gerald Jones, for his kind word, and the President, Mr. Kemp, all the Atlantic Council fellows, senior fellow, all the guests, ambassadors, ladies and gentlemen. I'm speaking without script. I will confess that I was one of the many of you having the Atlantic Council partner card. So for the partners, be sure that someone has read this. I took only some bullets not to forget anything, because I think it's important. I will speak without any script. If you allow me, not being a native speaker, I faced this challenge, as many, during my command in Brussels. But I would like to say first, thank you so much. And this award really is to recognize not the job made by myself, but the willingness, the decision, determination of all the member states of NATO. First, they decide 1 year ago in this very place to just develop and establish this capability, the enhanced forward presence. Second is a recognition of the great effort made by the 4 hosting nations, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and Poland, and by the 4 framework nations, United Kingdom, Canada, Germany, and United States, plus the other total 19 to grow up in number, participating nations that you have seen the many flags before. And on behalf of my commander, Giles Caparotti, is a recognition for his very clear guidance. He gave me in December the strategic guidance to develop this capability. We were able to issue order in due time, very early, and we ended up on the 7th of February with the first battle group to be established in Rukla. We ended up some days ago in Adasi, in Latvia, to finish the implementation. But let me say that this has been an entire effort, a team effort. It's not just to finish here. It's the establishment and the implementation. I can say, having here the 4, 3 of them actually battle group commander, 1 representing the 4th, and they have been doing a lot of training already. And I will reveal not any secret if I say that speaking to them, to some soldiers that are with us today, I asked, tell me something about your training. And many said that of about 11 weeks, 9.5, they were on the field. First. The second one, of the commander, said that in these 5 months, they had trained as much as they used to be on training in 2 years' time in his hometown or in his country. So which is good, a great deal of effort is been doing for this. And I think that 1 year later, I was very much in the same place. And I think President Kemp was in the same, let's say, debate dinner when I was asked whether or not this force, EFP, the 4 battle was too much, too little, or just right. My answer was none of the 3. Not too much, not too little, not just right. Just because just right was not in place. I said, to be just right, we had to build up and make this force credible, effective, trained, ready to act if necessary. And I have to say today that it is just right, but the war is not finished. The mission has just started, since officially the deterrence, just mission for these 4 battle groups has just started officially on the 1st of July, but I said before, they were able to perform a great deal of activities during Sable Strike exercise that was led by United States, Israel, and many of them were on the field. And let me say that this new effort is bringing a lot of energy, a lot of willingness, a lot of expertise. We are increasing our interoperability, and I was witnessing the river crossing in Lithuania just days before the Secretary General was officially watching the same exercise, and I have to say that I've seen countries and also the bridging engineer from Germany and from UK, allowing the Lithuanian Iron Wall Brigade elements and tanks and infantry vehicles crossing the rivers. This is to bring additional capability, additional credibility to NATO to be here. But I believe that there is something even more that we have to do, and we are working on this. I will not forget the chain of command that is under myself. Is a multinational corps northeast, another very good achievement that was fully capable, recognized on the 14th of June, just last June, in Szczecin, and the multinational division northeast, another great effort made by Poland to establish a multinational division headquarters which will have the coordinating authority over training and situational awareness of these 4 battle groups. The integration with the Home Defense Brigade, and they are participating in all the exercise. I was there. They are on the field most of the time, brings additional capability to the 4 countries. We will not stop there. We will have to build up also the inter-domain, the cross-domain capability with the Air Force and with the maritime component, and more importantly, we will insert these force within the Eagle Defender Graduated Response Plan, which is a plan that allows NATO to respond gradually, proportionally, in a determined way to any kind of possible potential aggression. And I would say that we are ready. And to finish, NATO has demonstrated unity and solidarity. And you have seen, even tonight, how much this sentiment is spread within all European countries, the transatlantic link, and whatsoever. I think that is a great certainty for us, commander on the field, to have this support, solidarity, unity of effort, and we are under control and command and direction by our political master. Thank you for allowing us to perform so well, and we will serve our alliance, our nation in due course, achieving the objectives that you will be giving to us. I would like to thank all the 4 commanders, and thank you so much. Andrew just arrived because he's replacing the 2 years in command, the previous Mark. Greg is representing his commander, Wade from Canada, Christoph Huber, who was the first in Rukla, and Stephen Gwenter that is going to leave after 6 months establishing all the capability in the battle group in Poland. Thank you so much. Thank you to you personally, to all the soldiers of the nations that are giving to us an additional capability to fight for freedom and peace in the world. Thank you so much. Thank you.